You're listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast, your new favorite podcast for everything Bills and Sabres. What's going on, everybody? You're listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast, your favorite podcast for all things Bills and Sabres, with the pals Tom, Nigel, and Jake. Episode 6 coming at you. Quick reminder to go ahead and help us out and follow our social medias. You can find us on Instagram and X or Twitter, whichever you want, at Let's Go Buff Pod. That's Buff with 2 F's. Let's Go Buff Pod. And why don't we kick it over and say hello to the fellas? Tom, how we doing, buddy?
Boys, here we are. I'm good, man. It's been what a week, huh? That was not the way we wanted to start this season. We'll get into it eventually, but
yeah.
I work in New England for all those fine folks out there, and walking into New England's place of occupation on the next day is not the most entertaining thing to do after we go do that in prime time. But that's right. It's all good. Jake, what's up with you, bud?
Yeah, same here. Not much. Good week, busy week, but not a great way to start it, but I'm good otherwise. Yeah, weather's getting crisp after my meltdown on you last week, so I'm happy about that. Yeah, the air's feeling nice. Nice. How about you, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Yeah, just getting going through the things at school and getting ready. I'm actually not even technically like teaching kids yet. These first 2 weeks have just been like boatloads of busy work, like I talked about last week. But yeah, man, I'm good. Just ready to get to week 2. Ready to get to week 2.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, fellas, to ease our sorrows a little bit, what do you say we all take a moment and snap a beverage here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Ready?
It's time.
3, 2, 1.
I got
sprayed me a little bit.
I got some schmutz on my mic here.
I did too.
Excitement.
Just got so excited.
Nigel, I heard you picked up a 6-pack at Wegmans that you were excited about. Why don't you?
Yeah, I'm finally at least less of a piece of shit now. Yes, I did go to Wegmans. I did craft my own 6-pack. So we're kicking things off here. I have a beer from Industrial Arts Brewing Company. Don't know where it is. This beer is called Is it? That's embarrassing. This beer is called Pocket Wrench. It is a hazy pale ale, 9% ABV, and it says tropical and misty.
Ooh, Pocket Wrench is what I call our friend Jack. He's so he fits in my pocket.
Yeah, Pocket Wrench John. That's what we call him. Tom, what do you? Yeah, go ahead, tell us.
What I have. I'm gonna hold up this can for you boys. It's a Hermit Thrush beer out of Brattleboro, Vermont, called Brattle Beer, and it is a delicious aged sour ale with local apples. And this Hermit Thrush, I don't have many of their beers, but every time I do, it's a sour, and it's like the best I've ever had. It's so good.
That's awesome. That's a killer name there for sure.
Yeah,
it's a great brewery, Tom.
Now, one of the beers I was looking at today when I was crafting my 6-pack looked like it was made with honey, and I ultimately decided to bail. But what do you guys think about that? Is that something you would have gone for?
Yeah, I would have gone. I would have tried it. If honey's a sugar, it's fermentable, so I'm assuming it's not the only thing that they were fermenting, or else it'd be a mead instead. But yeah, I'd go for a beer with honey in it.
Our scientist over here he's the expert.
Seriously.
He's the one who's going to walk us through it.
Jake's hanging out over those beakers.
Yeah,
with his beakers and graduated cylinders and Bunsen burners.
I did just brew my first beer in like a year last week, so we'll see how it turns out. Yeah.
Now, how long is that gonna take?
It's 2 weeks fermenting and then 2 weeks in the bottle. So it's a labor
of a month
for me to get 5 bottles out of a gallon batch. So
yeah, but it's got to be. I imagine it's got to be pretty dope to enjoy a beer that you made. Like that's got to be a cool feeling.
And he's gotten pretty good at it.
I appreciate it. I appreciate
He's
it.
come a long way, but he's gotten pretty good at it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Those first couple were nearly like spit it out of your mouth, undrinkable.
Well, speaking of beer, fellas, we've got a cool little piece of
Wait,
news
oh,
to.
Jake gets to no. We have to. Yeah, no. Jake has to share.
Okay,
I'm
Jake's
sorry.
gonna do it. All right, go ahead, Jake.
I'm sorry. Well, no, I haven't announced
He
my
hasn't
beer
shared his
yet.
beer.
Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I
You
got.
host you.
Oh, I feel like we were talking for so goddamn long. How did we not get through all three of us?
all the
Go ahead,
honey and
Torpedo.
fermenting and all
Yeah,
that. So
yeah.
my beer is from the lovely Queen City in Buffalo, Thin Man Brewing, the Pils Mafia,
Oh,
because
nice.
it was a good reminder, a nice crispy pilsner that makes you think of fall. No matter what the score is, we're still part of the Bills Mafia.
This
So
is true.
cheers
This
to
is true.
that.
Here we go. Go
And
Bills.
so
All
yes,
right.
now's the time. Now's the
Now,
time. We
yeah,
do have
now we'll get there.
exciting news.
Yep, nice little piece of news here for us. At least we're excited about it. Our awesome friend Lisa, who is a killer graphic designer, put together a really great logo for us that does come in the form of a beer can. We're beer guys, if you couldn't tell. So we are super excited about that. We are going to start to post that on the socials and all that fun stuff. Just a reminder, Let's Go Buffalo Pod on Instagram and X. You can catch the picture of that logo on the platforms after this episode drops, which should be, in the evening on
Later tonight.
September 13th.
Yeah.
So,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
keep
It
an eye out
looks
for that.
incredible. Lisa did an incredible job. I mean, I
It's
knew she
awesome.
would. She is so talented. So
Yeah,
we're
it really
appreciative
is
of her
cool.
doing that for us.
Yeah.
And
Shout out, Lisa. Yeah, absolutely. We're super, super appreciative. Sorry, Jake. Go ahead, bud.
No, you're good. As you're listening to us on the airwaves, you'll get to see her art and just stare at it for the whole time that you're listening to us. So
Unless you're driving.
Unless you're driving, even then, you can sneak a glance every once in a while.
Yes,
glance.
yeah,
Yeah,
for
fleeting. Sure. Yeah.
Awesome. So shout out
So,
Lisa, like the boys said.
yes,
Thank you,
thank
Lisa.
you so
Super
much.
kind of you. Did we pay her any money? I don't think that we did.
We absolutely will. Lisa,
Okay.
coming your way.
Yep, Lisa. There's the checks. The checks in the mail.
We don't have deep wallets, but we have deep appreciation. So
The check is in the mail, but don't hold your breath anyway. Awesome.
I
cool.
just love that we like this. It's just so cool that this podcast is just all about just us hanging out. And I love that we get to include another friend in that with like Lisa, who's a Bills fan and a lifelong friend of ours. And I don't know, we're just figuring this out as we go. And I love that it's more of that. So
yeah,
cool.
No, that's well said, pal. I agree completely. Awesome. All right, folks. Well, for the episode this evening, we're just going to touch real quickly, briefly, very not a long timey on the Sabres development camp roster. Do you guys like that? So they did announce the roster for not development camp, prospect challenge. Same thing, I guess. There's a bunch of names on here that don't really matter, honestly, but there are a bunch that do as well. I'd say the biggest name is probably Zach Benson, who's going to be featured at camp. Some other ones that I think are a pretty big deal. Some of these Russian guys that we drafted a couple of years ago, Alexander Kisikov, Victor, I'm probably going to say this last name wrong, Noichev? Any idea, Jake?
I think Noichev. Yeah, I think you're
Victor Noichev. Itzhak Rozan, Matt Savoy. So a bunch of forwards there. A couple of defensemen too. Jake, you want to tell them about the defensemen?
Yeah, sure. I think the two that I'm most excited about, Ryan Johnson. Unsure if he would sign. He ended up signing. So I'm curious what his game looks like outside of college, playing against other NHL prospects. And then the other one, like you mentioned, the Russians coming over. Nikita Novikov. He's a big, mean defenseman. I think he's 6'4" or something like that.
He's a big boy.
First, he played in the KHL last year, so he's coming over now. He'll probably end up in Rochester, and I'm just excited to see how his game translates to the North American ice. And ideally, he develops into kind of a big, kind of defenseman prospect for the bottom pairing in the next couple of years. So excited about those two.
For those of you that don't know, Jake mentioned a different size set of ice. Europe, I think they use in the KHL too, which is Russia's top league. European ice is bigger than American ice by a pretty decent amount.
It's 10 feet. I think it's the same length, so it's 200 feet long, but it's 100 feet wide instead of 90 feet, I think, in North America.
Is it a metric problem?
On TV, it looks like on TV, it looks like a lot more than that, but I think you might be right, Jake. It's not. I don't think it's as much as it looks to be. So
it doesn't sound significant, but the play moves that much faster. You have that much less time before there's a big burly Canadian bearing down on you to put you into the boards. So
correct. Yeah.
it makes a big difference transitioning.
It's usually that
Yeah.
big burly Canadian is Tom. He's not quite in Canada, but he's in Vermont, which is pretty
I'm
close.
awfully close. Yeah. I'm not good for much, but I could make a good goon, I think.
For sure. Absolutely. So, yeah, just a quick update on the notable names there. I think for those players, the biggest thing I'm looking for is stand out. Be better than the guys that, like I said, more or less don't matter, right? Look like you're better than them because you should be.
100%. Yeah, I'm excited to see Benson and Savoy. I mean, you've seen a lot of them in the WHL. They were line mates for much of the year.
Yep.
But throw Buffalo unis on them, and I hope they dominate the tournament. They have every right to, considering their talent level. Savoy's a year out from being drafted, and the competition they're going up is lesser prospects. So,
correct.
Yeah, I'm excited to see them. Hopefully, just
any questions on
dominate.
any of that, Tom?
So are there any of those guys who are possibly going to be going down to like playing in Rochester? Like, are there any of these players that we're not really going to see, or like, yeah, I guess that's my question. Who are we going to be seeing play as a Buffalo Sabre, and who might we see go and do some development somewhere else?
You mean like a Sabre this year?
Yeah, or of those new signings, right? Of who made that roster and the people those players you just talked about.
So of these guys, the only one that I think really stands a chance to make the team, there's two. I would say, at least in my opinion, Jake, I don't know if you feel differently. There's really only two that I think have a shot to make the Sabres roster this year, and that would be either Yuri Kulik or Matt Savoy. I think Zach Benson's probably still too young. He'll go back to the WHL. Although I think truly he is the best prospect in the pipeline right now. But yeah, it's probably just those two guys that have a chance, and even they are long shots. Jake, do you feel differently?
No, I agree with what you said. The only slight disagreement I would say is I don't think and kind of hope Kulik does not make the team. I think he had an excellent year in Rochester, but I think it's important not to rush him given the forward crop that we have. So
Correct.
I'd love to see him have a great camp and make it be a really difficult decision. But ultimately, I'd like to see him in the AHL tear it up down there, pot 40 goals, and then come up when he's proven that he belongs nowhere else other than in Buffalo.
Is he a player we could see get called up like in the season, knock on wood, in case of an injury or something like that happens? Like you could see him.
Depending
100%.
Depending on who gets hurt, he could be the first one.
Okay.
Like if a fourth line guy goes down, it's probably more like a Sean Malone that would get called up.
Brandon Biro is back. He's been up and down a few times.
Yep, true. My guess would be that if anybody in the top 6 on the Sabres gets hurt, Kulik is probably the first call, but I am usually wrong about most things. So
I think I agree with you. Between him and Rosine, I think he's a Swedish prospect. He had a good year in Rochester last year and a great playoffs for Rochester. So I could depend again. It depends on how they're playing through the year, how their off seasons were. Okay. I could see either one of those being a very happy argument for which one comes up first.
All right,
and I'm excited. There will be injuries. There will be call ups. It's going to happen in the long season.
Right. It's such a huge season. Yeah. I'm excited to kind of get into once we get closer to like hear you guys talk about this roster construction, because I'm it's a little foreign to me, but I'm excited. Yeah. Here we go.
It's going to be good. All right. So that's it for the Sabres stuff. Well, I guess it's time. We're going to do a little bit of recap.
No, I think we log off here. I think this is good. Everybody knows we're good. No.
Yep, we got a game recap that we'll do a little bit of for you. And we're not going to go, and again, like folks, we said it in episode 1, we're not professionals. We're teachers and accountants. We don't, we're not sports guys professionally, not media guys. We're just buddies that love hanging out and drinking beer and talking sports. So we figured we'd try and get other people that like those things to listen to us. So we're going to try and start off optimistically. And we're going to try and do a couple positives from each of us, things that we liked about the football game from Monday night. So, let's see. Would either of you like to volunteer to go first, or would you like me to go first?
I'd like you to go first.
Okay,
I'd like Tom to go first.
You're so coordinated. Look at us. All right, I'll go first. So the couple of things that I was really excited about was to see Stefan Diggs go out and clearly show that he is here to play. He's going to be the answer, and is absolutely still the number 1 wide receiver we need here on this team. And he's a stud. He went out and had I can't remember his stat line. We should pull that up. Couple catches, over 100 yards, that touchdown. 10 catches, over 100 yards, a touchdown. Like that was clearly the what we needed from him. So that was awesome. I loved seeing Leonard Floyd play. That was cool. He's a dog. Like I'm excited for that D line. Terrell Bernard starting opposite Matt Milano. He held his own. Like it was not the complete liability we thought he might be. So that was cool.
Okay, Tom, I have to cut you off. You took 3.
Oh,
and we have 2 more of us that have to go. And there aren't that many positives.
All right. Go ahead. You next. One at a time. Pass the chairs.
You can't have them all, Tom. Jake, you want to go next, buddy?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I agreed with Tom. Stefan Diggs, I thought looked like he came to play and looked the part. The other one that I had that Tom didn't say, I thought the tight ends looked like a stabilizing presence. I saw. I think Dalton Kincaid had hauled in all 4 of his receptions, perhaps.
Sure did.
And he looked good when he grabbed him. I mean, he grabbed the ball and took off and ran. So I thought I don't have the eye to talk about their blocking game or anything like that, but I thought as far as giving Josh Allen a outlet when he was under some pressure, that's when I noticed them, is when there was some pressure coming and they gave a safe outlet. The patient play to hit the right guy and not turn the ball over. So
now, Jake, question for you, just as a budding Bills fan, can you name the last wide receiver that we had on this team that Josh utilized as that sort of safety blanket? Can you think of who it was? It wasn't a long time ago, pretty recently. Slot receiver, smaller guy.
Cole Beasley?
You got it. Yeah. That's Dalton Kincaid is just essentially becoming a bigger Cole Beasley. I'm not going to sit there like everybody else and say he's, bigger Cole Beasley, because he's not. He doesn't run like Cole Beasley, but he's really good at finding the soft spots in the zone and being that safety blanket. Yeah, I think that's a great pickup on your part. For me, man, I think I would just say that, and you guys kind of touched on it a little bit, but we had those 3 spots that were position battles in camp: CB2, middle linebacker, right guard. It's nice to see the coaching staff get that right, because Tom, you talked about Bernard. I think of the 3 of them that we had those battles, O'Cyrus Torrence, man. I know we talked about, I expressed a slight bit of concern last pod. That dude looks like he is goddamn for real.
He's going to be great, dude. I'm excited to see him get more experience. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, he looked nice. He had a couple reps against Quinnen Williams where, I mean, who outright wins reps against Quinnen Williams? But he held his own, dude. And you saw a couple, Mitch Morse got worked a couple times by Quinnen Williams. So it was nice to see.
Be expected. Yeah.
To be expected, yeah. That's not because Mitch Morse is bad either. It's just because Quinnen Williams is that dude. But I think my most positive takeaway from the entire thing was probably O'Cyrus Torrence. And then the other one that it's nice to see Tyler Bass stay on schedule. A little scary with the last field goal there to put us into overtime, but that's a guy that we need to be on, and it's nice to see him hit all of his kicks. I think he's still at times a guy that goes underrated, even though he shouldn't be. Nice to see him stay on schedule.
There was on Sunday there was another doink off the upright.
There was,
and it did not go. I forgot who it was too, but it didn't go in. And so I saw it and I heard it dink, and I almost Control W closed the page. But I'm glad I stuck around.
Yeah,
I'm kind of glad I stuck around.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So we're gonna kind of transition now into concerns and questions. And Tom, I'm gonna start with you if that's cool, because my question has to do with Stefan Diggs.
Okay.
And you're right. He was a monster. His exact stat line was 10 catches, 102 yards, a 10.2 average. So averaging a first down on first down when he catches the ball. Longest was 18, and he caught that one tud that was a great play by Josh Allen. How many more games does Josh Allen have like that before Stefan Diggs does actually have a problem with being in Buffalo, do you think?
Man.
Tough to say.
It's tough to say, but I don't know. I've been going back and forth about this all day. This is going to open a different can of worms, I think. So I'm going to try and keep my thoughts here because we're going to definitely talk about Josh here in a second, and maybe
Yep.
now's the time. I, as absolutely blown away and concerned I am about Josh's performance, it's also week one, right? I'm not that I don't know. I'm not ready to throw in the towel. I like this, like he clearly, this Jets defense has given him fits every time we see him. This is, so it's not like it's a new thing against the Jets. It's not like, oh my God, we're playing this really, easily had defense that somebody should, I don't know. So from what we saw out of Diggs from on the field and then on the sideline, he was there supporting Josh. I'm not concerned. I am not. I think all of this actually is blown out of proportion. We still don't know if he was actually upset with Josh. We still don't know if he was actually upset with the scheme. Like, we don't know. And so for me, I don't think so. He's paid as one of the best wide receivers in the league, playing with one of the best quarterbacks in the league on one of the best rosters in the league. If he has a problem with that, then I'd be actually surprised.
Okay. That's fair, and you make some good points there. I just, whew, I don't know, man. Tom, I think that thing that you posted last night to our group chat of Dan Orlovsky talking about how he would talk to Josh Allen, and it's a great clip if anybody cares to look it up. I'm sure you can just punch in Twitter Dan Orlovsky, Josh Allen, it'll pop
It'll
right
show
up.
right up. Yeah.
Um, it was spot on, and basically what he said was that one of these coaches, probably Sean, has to grab Josh by the face and go, dude, you got to grow up, and
Yeah.
that's like and you said it last night, man. Like when you sent it, you were like, this is it, and I think that was like the most accurate way to describe it, man. Like, yeah, it's just playing immature. The cuteness of it is losing its allure, right? Like I think Mina Kimes tweeted last night, who's a killer. I think she works with ESPN if I'm not mistaken. But she tweeted she was like all excited. She was like, our no, yes, King is back. Right?
Yeah.
Like that cute thing that everybody paints Josh Allen under that umbrella. It's losing its allure, man. It's not cute anymore because we're starting to miss the heroics that make up for the cuteness. It didn't happen in Cincinnati. It didn't happen last night, or excuse me, Monday night. So I'm like, I'm like you, Tom. Not throwing any towels or anything, but man, he spent all offseason trying to work this stuff out, and it didn't, and it didn't happen. And if anything, it got worse. Jake, what are your thoughts? You had your hand up first.
I appreciate the teacher in you.
Yeah.
I think like one of the things that we've come to love and about Allen and his play is his ability to pull off heroic plays when he's under pressure. Like that is a strength of his, and you saw it a couple of times last night. What I thought was disappointing was he was making some of those hero ball plays when he had a safer option, when there was a better choice to be made, and it seemed selfish. It seemed like I need to put this team on my back. But he's not the only weapon the Bills have. They have good receivers around him. They have good tight ends around him. Whatever you want to say about the offensive line, he puts himself in trouble in
Mm-hmm.
spite of the offensive line sometimes. So it's just him. He needs to take a step back and be more of a team player and not try to push and make that hero play every time. Do it when you need to, but make the smart play for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Tom, what do you got, buddy?
So I completely agree with you guys. Like, he needs to. This is the game because what's so disappointing here is we can see if he could make half of those bad decisions and turn them into good or at least reasonable decisions, how good of a player he would be, right? Like, that's the frustrating part. If we could
Yes.
tweak just a little bit of those mistakes, doesn't have to be all of them because you can't expect him to be perfect. He's not going to be, and we can't expect that out of him. But if we could get 50% of them to be switched into reasonable, more positive plays, we could do that. I'm going to push back and I'm going to say, how many more games of Joe Burrow playing the way he did is until Jamar Chase is upset? You want to hear Joe Burrow's stat line? 14 completions for out of 31 attempts, 82 yards, 0 touchdowns.
Yeah, you're
he shit the bed too. So I just, it's like there it's not uncommon for good quarterbacks to shit the bed. So I'm not ready to, I don't know. I don't know. I spent Monday night and Tuesday pretty upset about like Josh. I'm like, this is it. This is what the life we live. And I came back down.
Yeah, I mean the team lives and dies through Josh Allen. If he's not on, the team's not on.
correct.
He has to be better, but it's week one. He has proven over the past few years that he can be one of, if not the best quarterback in the NFL on a given night. So like it's one game. It's a wart for sure, but it's not the house is on fire type of game by any means.
Bruce Nolan, another prominent, much more prominent Bills podcaster than we are, has a formula, ready? That is expectation minus reality equals disappointment. We went into this game. We hadn't seen this team play a regular season game. We came off the Bengals. It was a terrible Bengals playoff loss. We were pumped. We're going to go play against the Jets. Monday Night Football. Let's go. Then, right at the beginning of the game, Aaron Rodgers goes down. Oh boy, here we go. This game is ours. This expectations rose even higher. And then we got this. Right? So I think that's part of this issue is our expectations were through the roof. At least mine were. I'm guilty of that, right? So then once reality actually happens, holy shit, that's why this felt so bad. If our expectations were like, oh my God, this is going to be a tight game. This is going to be a 10-10 defensive battle. I don't know if I would have been as disappointed as I was.
I understand what you're saying, I think what I share there with you is an excitement, because I personally did go into this game assuming it was going to be tight. I did not think anybody was going to blow anybody out or anything like that. But my expectation is always going to be higher than turning the ball over 4 times.
True.
That's not a high expectation.
You
you simply cannot do that and win games. The first interception, it's an outstanding punt. I'm fine with it. Truly. I don't care. The second two, the first one, he had, like Jake was saying, he had a perfectly clear, easy check down to James Cook. The second one that he forced to Gabe Davis, he had Stephon Diggs practically with enough time to sit down and make himself a turkey sandwich. He was so open. So it's just this, like, I don't know, man. I just, and we know that I'm always the one who's way more emotional than everybody about it, and I bug out over shit, but I'm labeling myself as concerned, man, because it's too similar to the whole second half of last season. And I know last season he had the UCL, but that was supposed to be fine forever ago at this point. And the decision making, compared to last season, or at least the second half of last season, shows me little to no improvement so far. And I recognize the Jets are a good defense, but and I know the Jets defense gave us fits last year too. But there were a lot of teams last year that did give us fits that should not have.
Yeah.
And it was based on decision making, I felt like. So I'm labeling myself as concerned. I'm riding with Josh Allen. I'm not throwing in the towel. I'm not suggesting we putting in Kyle Allen, anything like that. But I am concerned because the sample size now is simply too big of him not fixing this for me to feel comfortable.
Yeah, it's a growing trend. I mean, it's week one, but it's a growing trend from last season. And I hope this time next week, I hope we don't even have this conversation. I hope he comes back, looks like Josh Allen against the Raiders, and we say, "Oh, okay, he's back." But he needs to prove that. I mean, it's on no one's shoulders but him losing the game, and he needs to come out at home and prove why he is who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably, we should probably leave Josh alone now. Were there any other big concerns for anybody?
Not concerns, but I actually thought of another positive if we can spin the conversation in another way for a second.
Yeah, go for it, dude.
I thought James Cook looked pretty good
Look better than
as a
pretty good.
runner. He looked
Yeah.
he looked way better than Devin Singletary. No offense to Devin, but it's also not a high bar to clear, I think. But his speed was good. He had one play in particular. I think forgive me on my naming of plays, but I think it was a sweep where like he's parallel to Josh and kind
I
of
think I know
You're
exactly
doing
what you're
good.
talking
Yeah.
about.
and
Yeah.
he beat the defender to the outside to pick up a first down instead of just losing a yard or two and getting beat to the sideline. So overall, I thought he looked
He
speedy,
looked good.
explosive. I'm curious what you guys think. I want to toss it back to you both about him, but also some more nuance that I don't pick up on as far as how the tight ends did blocking, how the offensive line did to set up run plays. Like, what did you guys think of the run game overall outside of just James Cook?
I thought
Tom,
it
you
was
want to go?
awesome. Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I wish they went back to it more, especially when Josh was clearly unraveling. Like, right? Like, why didn't we just we got James Cook. We still have Damon Harris and Latavius Murray, who are both very good runners. I wish they had more touches and they got involved in this game. And that the coaching staff took this out of kind of Josh's hands and didn't let him go and poop his pants the way he did. But anyway, yeah, no, it was phenomenal. The run blocking, I think, was good. That Jets interior defensive line is they wreak havoc, right? So like
Correct.
it's not going to be the best of run blocking games we're going to have, especially because we're not necessarily I would put us a middle of the road run blocking team at best. So no, I was really happy with it. I thought James Cook looked good. He was active in the passing game too, which is exactly where I want to see him. Another safety blanket, kind of like a Dalton Kincaid thing. What do you think, Nige?
Yeah, again, man, this is this is more praise for Osiris Torrance, man. I thought he was the best run blocker for sure. He
Oh
worked
yeah,
combos from what I saw based on I didn't watch the all 22, but trying to watch is just all the highlights that I can and breakdowns and stuff like that. Um, his combos with Mitch Morse moving to the second level when he needed to were excellent. Not so much the case with Mitch Morse and who left guard Connor McGovern. So there's a little bit of stuff to work out there, but I think you make a really good point, Tom, considering who we were blocking, especially on that interior defensive line for the Jets. I think overall I'm happy with the run blocking. Jake, what do you got?
Even I know the Jets defense tears people to shreds as a
Yeah,
not very knowledgeable fan. I wanted to ask you a follow up question because you said something I didn't understand. You said something moved to level 2.
yeah. So combo blocking. So a lot of the time on run plays, so the Bills mostly this year, and this is slightly different from the past, but the Bills run what's called a gap running scheme, meaning the running back is supposed to attack a particular gap, as opposed to a zone running game where everybody just kind of gets to an area and your running back takes off. So within that gap blocking scheme, a lot of the time you're going to have what are called combo blocks between your guard and your center, or your tackle and your guard. And those combo blocks are when you both double team a player, right, a defensive lineman, and then usually the guard or the center, depending on how things line up, will peel off that block and move to, like I said, the second level, which would be the linebacker, or if there's a strong safety that's down, that next level beyond. Excuse
The
me, air
line.
bubbles from beer. The defensive line. Yep,
Okay.
you got
So
it.
you're overwhelming. You have two guys on one, so you're pushing, making a gap. Your running back goes through the gap, and then the second player takes off to support.
Yeah, he probably even sooner than that. Your peeling player will go like if once that ball is snapped before the running back like actually crosses the center's butt, that guard should be if he's doing his job correctly peeled off to get to that linebacker because by then these guys recognize so quick that linebacker will have already filled the hole if it takes the guard that long to
he's
peel
almost
off.
leading the way, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. It
exactly.
happens so fast.
It's quick and processing speed is only getting faster. So,
Yeah.
um,
Before we move to the defense, anything else you guys liked on offense? I know.
no,
On,
Deontay Hardy was used quite a bit, right? He had some fun gadgety plays. I
It was
was
all right.
I was cool. Well, all right, Nige, why aren't you impressed?
I mean, they were gadgety, but he like I would like to see what his stat line was. Let me float around here for a second. Deontay Hardy stats: 3 receptions, 9 yards. So 3 yards average. His longest was 5 yards. And when he carried the ball, he ran for 4. So
All right.
yeah, it wasn't. It just wasn't like I like the idea. I like trying to get him involved. I'm glad we paid him the money and we're trying, but his performance was underwhelming.
Now that you're saying that, I'm also underwhelmed. So I take it back. Negative. It's back. Put him back in the negative.
Yeah. So
I thought of.
Go ahead, Jake.
I'm sorry, Nash. I thought of one more question on the offense before we move to defense. Around play calling and Ken Dorsey himself, I don't know if this is out of line to say, but I missed Brian Dable last year, and that didn't go away in Game 1 this year. What are your thoughts? Do you think that's the issue? I mean, it seemed like there were some third and long plays, second and long plays where it was like a sweep play, and we got a yard, and then it just backed us into a hole. Am I right to be worried? I don't know. What do you guys think?
Are you trying to tell me you didn't like when Ken Dorsey called a draw on 1st and 15 or 2nd and 15 in overtime? You didn't like that call, dude?
That would be correct. And can you very quickly educate me on what a draw is?
Draw play is when, so it's a shotgun formation. Or actually, well, it doesn't have to be. Sometimes it is. Quarterback receives the snap, looks like he's about to pass. So ideally, your linebackers and everybody are dropping into coverage. And then he just turns real quick and gives it to the running back. And hopefully, by the time the running back is hitting the line of scrimmage, the linebackers haven't been able to recover in time.
I see. Okay. So no, I did not like that.
No, it's not a play call that I would even try if I was up by 60 points in Madden, Jake. So I don't understand the logic there. I can't even get into that right now. Tom, what did you want to say?
I am not impressed. I don't know. I don't want it's the blame 100% falls on Josh Allen's shoulders because his decision making caused most of the problems. If you go back and watch any of these highlights, you're going to get real depressed because Josh had easy buttons that were he could have either ran for yardage, he could have hit somebody close, and could have had better solutions. So I think in this scheme, the scheme is opening better solutions. I do. I just don't know. So I don't know if it's a problem between Josh and the scheme not linking, or he's not running it correctly. I don't know. But no, I'm not excited that we have Ken Dorsey. Like if you were to tell me that, oh man, maybe we're bringing somebody else in right now, I would be like, okay, let's see it. Right.
At this point, I am not putting blame on literally anyone other than Josh Allen. Truly,
which is the correct thing to do. Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah,
truly, dude. For me, the only play that I saw that I actively despised and made me sick to my stomach was that draw play in overtime. I by myself screamed, "What the f" at my TV. Like I'm sure neighbors down the road heard me. I was pissed. Yeah. But outside of that, dude, there were other, second and long, first and long run plays that I thought were terrible. Outside of that, dude, there was really nothing that jumped out to me as like, this is terrible. It's hard to gauge because the offense is clearly not being run properly because Josh Allen can't stop getting a chubby for being a hero.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Not to mention one more quick note. The 1st and 15 in overtime there. What is Spencer Brown doing there? This team put such an emphasis in training camp on eliminating bad penalties. Can you think of a worse penalty than in overtime taking a false start penalty?
No.
Come on.
No.
Come on.
I am on team first round's right tackle pick right now.
Yeah. Ditto.
That's the team I'm on, and I would love to be proved otherwise, but we need a different solution, and we need somebody who's going to go lock that down and push for a huge contract and once their rookie deal is up. That's what I need. I need that.
Yeah.
The rate at which that man gets blown up backwards, like pushed on his heels, is shocking.
Yeah, like wet tissue paper.
Yeah, dude, like just way too many of his best impressions of wet bread. So I just, that stinks.
Yeah.
I do want to switch to the defense, and I'm going to start here. It's Matthew goddamn Milano. Holy shit. This guy is so this guy is so fucking good, dude. Matt Milano, for my money, dude. Who's better than him right now? Fred Warner in San Francisco.
But same conversation, right?
Absolutely, dude.
Same conversation, which is so cool to see for Matt. Like,
for me, that conversation starts at top 5, and right now, I think the interesting one is top 3. He is, dude. And he does it all, man. He had the interception. He had that backside gap shoot for like a 5-yard loss in the first half that made me
reads it like a book.
I wanted to run through a wall myself, dude. That made me so hype. And the guy, like, this cat seems to somehow, and other, like, I know Jets fans think he's a piece of shit, but this guy only seems to get a little bit more violent. Why is that,
Nige?
Because he snapped Mike White in half?
Because he saw his quarterbacks in half? Yeah,
exactly.
Well,
Especially Mike White.
We talked about a bad penalty. Let's talk about a great penalty. Picking off Zach Wilson and then just getting in his face.
Yeah, you can take that penalty
because
all you
Zach
want.
tried to tackle him. Zach tried to go tackle Matt Milano, and like, let's make some business decisions here, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the big one for me. The other one that I have, I thought Tre'Davious White was fucking outstanding in coverage.
Yeah.
I think his tackling was bad. He had that one really great open field tackle on Garrett Wilson, but there were a couple of those long Breece Hall runs, and I recognized that it was lined up incorrectly, and that's why a couple of those broke, especially that first one. But I mean, you can watch that replay all you want to, and he's always had tackling problems. I recognize that, but he had both of Breece Hall's feet in his hands as he was wrapping him up.
Yeah,
like you just can't let him get out.
Right? Can we just make it a little bit better, Trey? Just a little bit.
You don't even have to bring him down right there. You just don't let go of the foot so that somebody else can get him.
Is that a positioning with your body thing? A positioning of your hands, grip strength? Like what is he missing that would make him a better tackler?
Willingness.
Willingness.
Yeah.
I think it's.
I don't know,
man. And I'm not okay. So let me back up here because I'm not about to compare my high school football days to Tre'Davious White in the NFL. But to do my best to try and empathize a little bit, it's all a mentality, dude. Tackling, like when you know you're about to hit it, dude, that you can fucking hit, you go at it full force. This was in this case for me, and I hope NFL players don't have this issue because they shouldn't be pros. But when there was a big dude that I had to tackle, I was meek about it, dude. I was like, this is gonna suck.
Business decision, right?
It's a
business decision, right? You're like, I don't want to get up tomorrow and feel every hit.
Exactly. So, but I don't know, man. I also wasn't getting paid $20 million. So
that would change the equation for me.
Yeah, it needs to. So I need Trey White to be a little bit better with his tackling. He did have that one outstanding one on, I think it was Garrett Wilson, which is not an easy open field tackle.
Yeah.
Jake. Sorry. Yeah, you were going to say something else.
No, I was pleased with the defensive output from the game. I don't think they're the reason we lost. I thought they looked solid. I thought Christian Benford looked like a reliable CB2.
Sure did.
I mean, he saved us 4 points chasing down Breece Hall like he did. That was huge. A touchdown otherwise. So yeah, I mean, disappointing that Kaiir Elam was not playing and inactive, but I think it's found money that I think he was like a late round pick. Found money that he's a starter for the team and looked pretty good doing it from my eyes.
Yeah. That whole thing, man, is just, it is. It's so much more. It says so much more about Christian Benford than it does Kaiir Elam. I wish that narrative would stop because we've seen Kaiir Elam play good football in playoff football games. Like, he can play. He's a good player. Maybe, like, should we have drafted somebody else in the first round? Probably. There was a guy named Creed Humphrey still on the board, and now he's like a top 2 center in the league. But I mean, he's not a bad player, dude. I think you struck gold with a guy like Christian Benford in the 6th round. Tom, what are your thoughts, buddy?
great way to reframe it. I like
You
it.
nailed it. That's it, right? Like I think it's an awesome problem to have, especially considering like how much we put some just a guys, right? Just a couple guys, just a guy out there,
Jags.
Jags, for years, and now we have too many CB2s. So you know what? I'll take it.
Yeah, dude. I'm never gonna be upset about having 3 starting caliber cornerbacks compete for my CB2 job. You know,
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
so many teams would kill for that problem.
Yeah.
So,
So, man, my big thing takeaway from this week's game is that I got to remember it's just week 1, right? It's just week 1. We dropped a divisional game, so that's not good. But it's just week 1. I can't wait for Sunday to sit down and watch some more Bills football. I need to see some rhythm. So, before we go on, do you guys have anything other kind of wrapping up points about the Bills at Jets?
I personally don't even get to where you are with that stuff, Tom. Wins, losses, division or not, I got to know that 17's good in the head before I'm going to feel good about any of this, dude. None of it matters until whatever's going on in his brain is sorted out. None of it. Doesn't matter that we drafted Dalton Kincaid. Doesn't matter that we signed Leonard Floyd. Won't matter when Von Miller comes back if 17 doesn't sort it out. That's my prevailing thought.
Yeah, doesn't
Jake, what
matter
do you
who's
got?
calling the plays up top. I hear you. I agree with you. That is as the Bills live and die. It's Josh Allen, 100%.
Yep.
That's just the makeup of the team. That's the kind of player he is. If he's on his game, I don't think there's a team that could beat the Bills. And maybe that's a homer opinion, but
No, it's not. It's
I
a
mean
fact.
he's proven it. Yeah, he is a game breaking athlete. So yeah, just want to see him
Get right.
get settled in. Yeah, get in the rhythm. Be patient.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I don't know about you boys. I will drink to putting that game behind us. So
Clearly away.
here's to that.
Yeah.
Cheers
Cheers.
to that. Cheers, guys. Yep.
Let's look ahead, boys. Let's start to look to
1
week 2 here
p.m. home
Yep.
opener.
against the Raiders.
Raiders are coming to Buffalo, baby. So,
Yeah.
1 o'clock, right? I think 1 p.m.
1
at
p.m.
Orchard Park in the Ralph. Here we go.
So
I
can
love
I
that you don't
say
let that go, Tom.
No, I'm not going to. No,
always
call
the
the
Ralph?
new place the Ralph.
I do like calling it the Mark. I've started calling it the Mark.
That's better. Yeah, I'll
I'm
take it.
trying to get that to stick. I'm like Gretchen from Mean Girls. Fetch is just never going to happen. But yeah.
So to kick off the Raiders discussion, I know that they have a workhorse running back in Josh Jacobs.
Yes, sir.
I know they have a stallion wide receiver, Devontae Adams.
It is like
And I
trying
know
to cover an actual Mustang.
and I know they brought in Jimmy Garoppolo, who I don't know that much about, but I know
A
he's
mannequin.
like kind of had a mannequin.
Yeah.
So, but beyond that, I don't really have a good grasp on who their team is or what their challenges are, where you see the Bills matching up well and not. So I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you think about the matchup and where do you see their opportunities and challenges?
Pick a guy to talk about, Tom.
Let's talk Josh Jacobs. Let's go right up front. He's the biggest threat.
Yeah. Go ahead, buddy. So, do you want to start, Tom? Talk about
Sure.
Josh Jacobs?
So he's a clear workhorse running back. He's going to be on the field a lot, and he's just a stud. So the biggest thing that we're going to need to do to kind of eliminate and take away his contribution to the Raiders is going to be tackling. We need this team to kind of step up their tackling ability. We need to get a lead and force them out of these run favored situations and force them to be throwing and not be relying on him as much. If they get a lead, they get a 2-score lead and they're able to kind of milk him and just ride him into the sunset. Like that's going to be bad news for us. So that's my thought. I think he's going to be good. I think we've also seen this Bills defense do well. We had a couple on run defense. The Brees Hall broke off a couple big ones. I agree. However, if you can't take away the big one, you can't. It still existed. It was there. But otherwise, the team did pretty well against the Jets, holding off their run offense. So I think this team has a capability to go in and stifle. We've stifled Nick Chubb. We've stifled Derrick Henry. Like, it's happened.
Yeah. Yeah, man, for me, My first thought when I think about trying to stop Josh Jacobs is what's the personnel grouping going to be like? Because there were a lot of running situations against the Jets where we had like almost that dime package out there with Taylor Rapp and two other safeties and Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, where Matt Milano was the only, or no, it was Milano and Bernard. It was Taron Johnson that came off the field.
Yep.
So, and I don't love that against Josh Jacobs because like Taylor Rapp can tackle Brees Hall in terms of size. I don't want to see Taylor Rapp try and tackle Josh Jacobs. So I'm wondering if like maybe this is a game. Like, are we going to see Tyrell Dodson a little bit more? Or are we going to see,
Yeah.
And like, are we going to load up the box or are we going to, I'm wondering how we're going to play it. I think for me, what I would like to see is this team load up against the run. Put a bunch in the box, put 7 in the box, because I will choose my defensive secondary on the Buffalo Bills over Jimmy G every time. I don't care if he's throwing to Devontae Adams, Calvin Johnson, and Jerry Rice. Jimmy Garoppolo does nothing for me.
Yeah.
So he's a
He's not
game
gonna be a problem.
facilitator. He's a game manager. He's not a guy that goes out there and wins you football games outright because he's a gamer. So load up in the box, stop Josh Jacobs. I think Austin Hooper's their tight end. Don't give a shit about that guy. Matt Milano's laughing himself to sleep thinking about that.
Oh, he's gonna have a great day. Yeah.
Jacoby Myers, I believe, is hurt.
Concussion protocol. Yep.
Concussion protocol. Okay, so he could be playing.
He could be back, but or not. We don't know. We haven't heard yet.
Like outside of Devontae Adams, dude. I mean, and Josh Jacobs,
Yeah. I think this is a good game for us to come back and get our rhythm back.
Hopefully.
And right, like knock on wood, like, but like I think this is a game that we can go in and get some things right. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Now, here's a potential avenue where I could see the day going very poorly for Buffalo, and that's Max Crosby against Spencer Brown.
Sure.
I don't like that at all. That is a problem.
Yep.
And what are you gonna do then? There, you're just gonna put Dawson Knox in Spencer's pocket all game.
It's gonna be like a three-legged race. Yeah, we're gonna tie Dawson's and Spencer Brown's legs together.
But then, how much of that would be awesome? How much of your playbook does that eliminate? Right, if you've got to
probably more than you like. Yeah,
if you've got to have Dawson as your wide tight end in line every time because Max Crosby is making Spencer Brown look silly. Now, the one thing that does play to Spencer Brown's angle there is Crosby's a finesse guy. He's less of a power guy, which I think works to Spencer Brown's advantage because he's super athletic.
Yes.
Still don't like it.
It's still not great. Still gonna be a problem.
It's still
but the
bad.
nice thing is, so you might have to educate me, Nige. Are there other good players on this Raiders defensive line? Like other players we need to worry about? Is it going to be like the Jets D line where like everybody out there is a freaking stud?
I believe is Chandler Jones still on this team? I believe he is. I'm looking it up right now. Oh, I just had it. And I moved off the page. I think Chandler Jones is still on this team, if I remember correctly. Max Crosby, whatever. Just kidding. He's sick. Jerry Tillery, he's the guy I meant to say whatever about. That's not a name that I know. He's defensive tackle. Bilal Nichols is the other defensive tackle. Not a name that concerns me.
No.
But Chandler Jones is the opposite defensive end. And then behind him is Tyree Wilson, who's another very high draft pick on the defensive line. So they got some guys there to worry about. And then as far as the secondary, Trayvon Merrick, he's sick. Marcus Peters is good. And then outside of that, dude, Divine Diablo as one of your linebackers, like, I don't know.
This is a game we can get some rhythm back. I do. I think this is not a Jets caliber defense.
If you can stop Max Crosby from ruining everything, I agree with you. But it's a question of, can you stop Max Crosby from ruining everything?
Yeah, no, that's it. That's it right there. So,
Jake, any thoughts, questions, comments, concerns?
No, I think you guys did a good summary. I agree. I hope we can get some rhythm back and open well at home.
Why don't you guys start with some score predictions for that game while I look up what the weather looks like for that game as of this time?
Oh, I haven't even thought about this yet. All right. I'm going to go that the Bills are going to get some life. We're going to get our rhythm back. I'm calling it here. I think it's going to be 28-17 Bills.
28-17 Bills. Okay. Jake, what do you got, brother?
Booked. I'm gonna say 24-20 Bills.
So Sunday right now in OP is cloudy and 68. So it doesn't look like any precipitation right now. Cloudy and 68 should play to our advantage because we have the better quarterback. Or at least theoretically we do, which leads me to a score prediction that might kind of bum us out. I'm not going to predict a dub for the Bills. I haven't seen enough to know that Josh Allen's going to sort it out. I'm going to say 24-17 Raiders.
All right.
That's my guess, dude. Right. I don't mean to be that dark negative POS dude, but the guy just had, from January to September to sort out whatever was ailing the turnover issue, and if anything, it got worse. So until I'm shown a reason to see that stuff from last season different, I don't know, dude. I don't like it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
We'll see. That's why we play the games.
Alrighty. Was there anything else? Or I think that's our last one. Tom, you want to take us home, buddy?
I would love to. Bills Mafia, hope you guys have a fantastic time out there at Orchard Park. Please do us proud out there. And we'll be rooting along. So go Bills. My name is Tom. That's Jake. This is Nigel. We hope you guys have a wonderful day, morning, evening, wherever you're listening to us. Give us a follow on Twitter, on Instagram at Let's Go Buff Pod. And thank you for listening, riding along with us. Here we go.